Most people don't get defeated by life. They surrender. Long before life ever gets a chance to test their courage. They've already raised the white flag. Not because they're incapable, but because they never learned to stay in the ring. They lose not to circumstance, not to setbacks, but to silence. The silence of their own inaction. The silence of dreams unlived. The silence of potential they never gave voice to. And that silence becomes the slow, suffocating grave of their greatness. It's not the storm that breaks them. It's the whisper of doubt they never confronted. It's the habit of folding the moment resistance appears. It's the belief that struggle is a sign to stop instead of a signal to grow. Most people don't lose because they're weak. They lose because they never learned how to fight the invisible battles. The ones that happen behind the eyes. In the mind. You want to know why most people lose without a fight? It's because they're trained to believe in appearances, not essence. They're taught to worship the world outside while ignoring the war inside. Taught to look confident, instead of becoming unshakable. Taught to chase success, instead of transforming the self. They memorize quotes about greatness. But forget that greatness isn't poetic. It's brutal. It's bloody. It's earned in the arenas no one applauds. Late nights, early mornings. Doubt screaming through the corridors of your mind. And you still choosing to move forward. This is where most people quit. When the applause stops. When the motivation fades. When no one is watching. That's when they walk away. Mistaking silence for failure. When in truth, it was just the moment before the breakthrough. Look at history. Greatness is forged, not granted. Lincoln lost more elections than most people have even entered. Ford went broke 5 times before he reshaped the world. Edison failed over 1,000 times to make a light bulb. But never called them failures. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's not clever. That's clarity. That's someone who understood. The fight isn't with the world. It's with the belief that the world can stop you. And yet today, most people treat challenge like a warning. But challenge is a reveal. It shows you what you've been avoiding. It exposes your real beliefs. Not the ones you post, but the ones you live. You say you believe in success. But the moment things get hard, you reach for comfort. You say you want transformation. But still cling to the habits that built your cage. Let's tell the truth. You don't get to keep your comfort and claim greatness. You don't get to stay who you were and become who you're meant to be. There's a cost to every rebirth. And most people aren't willing to pay it. So they lose. Not in one dramatic moment. But slowly. Quietly. One compromise at a time. They negotiate with fear. They tolerate mediocrity. They mistake routine for purpose. And by the time they look up, their life is nothing but a list of excuses dressed up as reasons. The truth? Most people never even made it to the battlefield. They got stuck in the parking lot of self-doubt. Because no one taught them the real enemy isn't failure. It's hesitation. It's paralysis. It's the endless overthinking that kills more dreams than any obstacle ever could. You want to win? You want to break the cycle? Then you have to do what most people refuse to do. You have to fight. Not once. Not twice. But every single day. Fight for your focus. Fight for your peace. Fight for your future. Because the world won't hand it to you. It will test you. It will try you. And most of all, it will mirror your belief. So if you keep folding, don't blame the world. Blame the blueprint. Let me be clear. Success is not for the chosen. It's for the committed. The ones who show up when they're tired, When they're scared. When they've failed and fallen and questioned everything. But still get up. They're not lucky. They're loyal. To their vision. And that loyalty is a rare thing in this world of shortcuts and hacks and instant results. Because most people? They're loyal to their pain. To their past. To the story that tells them they can't. And they repeat that story so much. It becomes their reality. Not because it's true. But because they never fought to rewrite it. This is the age of distractions. The age of dopamine. The age where comfort is a tap away and comparison is endless. And in this age, attention is power. Because if they can steal your attention, they can steal your destiny. And most people give it away for free. Scrolling, numbing, avoiding. Fighting battles that don't matter. While losing the one that does. Becoming who they were born to be. But becoming isn't automatic. It's a deliberate act of defiance. Defiance against who you used to be. Defiance against fear. Defiance against the inertia of average. You think it's hard to rise? Try staying stuck. That's harder. Because deep down, you know. You know what you're capable of. You feel the gap between what you live and what you're here to do. And that gap doesn't go away. It haunts. It whispers in the moments of quiet. It screams in the early morning hours when you're lying awake. Not because of noise. But because of the silence you've tried to avoid. You were not born to lose quietly. You were not born to settle. You were born with fire. Not a metaphorical one. A real one. A force so strong. It can bend reality to your will. But only if you fight for it. Think of Carnegie. He was a poor immigrant working in a cotton factory. But he saw steel in his mind before the world ever saw it in his hands. He built not just an empire. He built a legacy. Not because he had privilege. But because he had conviction. Conviction creates momentum. And momentum is what most people never generate. Because they're too busy looking for motivation. But motivation is cheap. Conviction is expensive. And that's why most people never pay for it. This is your wake-up call. The world will not bend to your potential. It bends to your persistence. To your repetition. To the belief you prove through action. Not talk. Not hope. Action. You want to know why most people lose without a fight? Because they treat action like an accessory instead of a necessity. They dabble. They try. But they never decide. And decision, true, soul-deep decision, is the birthplace of all transformation. So here's the real question. When did you decide to stop fighting? Was it the moment someone laughed at your dream? Was it when your first business failed? Was it when life knocked you down harder than expected? Was it when you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back? Wherever it was, that moment can be undone. But only if you're willing to confront it. To stare it down. To fight back. Because fighting doesn't mean violence. It means presence. It means refusing to leave the arena. It means standing back up when your ego is shattered. When your plan has crumbled. And your confidence is running on fumes. But you stand anyway. Because you decide that losing without a fight will never be your story again. Listen closely. You don't need more inspiration. You need ignition. The moment you stop waiting for someone to hand you the spark. And realize you are the spark. Everything changes. Because nobody is coming. Nobody is going to reach into your life and say, "Now is your time." You are the only one who can declare that. And most never do. They wait. Hoping that confidence will show up and drag them into action. But confidence doesn't come first. Courage does. Confidence is the reward. Courage is the cost. And if you're not willing to pay the price, you'll never collect the prize. Most people never lose because they're incapable. They lose because they wait for certainty. They want guarantees before they leap. And in doing so, they forfeit the one thing that could have built everything. Faith. Not blind faith. Not wishful thinking. But the kind of faith that lives in the marrow of your bones. The unshakable conviction that no matter what it looks like right now, you will not stop until it's done. That kind of faith builds empires. It turns nobodies into legends. It built Walt Disney's kingdom on a vision nobody else believed in. It pushed Muhammad Ali to say, "I am the greatest," before the world ever crowned him. It made a deaf, blind girl named Helen Keller speak louder through silence than most ever do with a voice. These were not magical people. They were not lucky. They were committed. They refused to let life tell them what was possible. They told life what it would become. And now it's your turn. You've spent enough time waiting. Enough time doubting. Enough time rehearsing your failure in your mind. It's time to enter the arena of your own life. Fully. Fiercely. Finally. And understand this. The arena doesn't reward talent. It rewards tenacity. It rewards the one who keeps standing after they've been knocked down 1,000 times. The one who's bruised but still breathing. The one who's scared but still swinging. The one who refuses to walk away without leaving everything they have on that floor. Because here's what most people don't want to admit. They choose to lose. They may not say it aloud. But in every moment they shrink, avoid, scroll, procrastinate. They're voting against themselves. They're saying, "My comfort matters more than my calling. My fear matters more than my future. My past is more powerful than my purpose." And eventually, those choices become chains. Not forged by anyone else. Forged by them. And only they can break them. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be ferocious. You need to stop negotiating with your limitations. And start declaring war on them. Because the life you want is not hiding. It's waiting. Behind the fear. Behind the failure. Behind the 1,000 small decisions you avoid each day. That's where it lives. And that's why most people never find it. They're too busy looking for shortcuts. When the only real path is through the fight. You can study every book. Watch every video. Hire every coach. But until you make the decision to stay in the ring. Until you stop making excuses and start making moves. Nothing changes. You don't transform your life with information. You transform it with execution. Relentless, disciplined, daily execution. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because when it's hard, that's when most people tap out. They say, "It's too much." They say, "I'm not ready." They say, "Maybe this isn't for me." But let me ask you. If not now, when? If not you, who? You were not sent here to tiptoe through life. Only to arrive safely at death. You were sent here to dominate. To evolve. To expand until the world cannot ignore your existence. But expansion hurts. It stretches you. It breaks who you were. So it can reveal who you are. And in that pain is the proof. The proof that you're alive. That you're awake. That you're fighting. Because make no mistake. Every moment you hesitate, there is someone out there getting stronger. Someone with less talent but more hunger. Less support but more grit. And they will win. Not because they had more. But because they used more of what they had. Most people wait to feel worthy before they act. But worthiness doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. From becoming. From stacking small victories until the voice in your head has no choice but to believe you. You don't need to silence the doubt. You need to drown it in a flood of evidence that you are a fighter, that you don't retreat, that you will not vanish into mediocrity just because it's easier. And let me tell you something sacred. Every time you get back up, even when no one sees it, you are writing a new story. One not built on potential, but on proof. And that proof becomes power. The kind of power no one can take from you. Not the critics. Not the doubters. Not even the voice in your head. Because you've earned it. This world is not kind to those who wait. It rewards those who move. Not those who are loud, but those who are consistent. Because consistency, over time, beats intensity without direction. Every single time. So if you're tired of losing without a fight, then get off the sidelines. Put down the excuses. Kill the story. Pick up the sword. And become the weapon. You don't need to destroy the world. You need to stop destroying yourself. With hesitation. With self-doubt. With patterns you pretend are normal. When deep down, you know, they're the chains keeping you average. This is not a rehearsal. You don't get another shot at this moment. And every moment you waste is one you chose to lose. So fight. Fight for your discipline. Fight for your routine. Fight for your goals when they're inconvenient. Fight for your future when the past wants to pull you back. Because the future doesn't belong to the faint of heart. It belongs to the relentless. You were not made to shrink. You were made to rise. To face dragons. To conquer shadows. To break the mold the world put around you. And yes, it will be hard. Yes, it will be lonely. Yes, it will test every fiber of who you think you are. But if you choose to stay in the fight, you will become something most people never even touch. Unstoppable. Now hear this. You were not born to break. You were born to bend the world with your will. You were not sent here to follow footprints. You were sent to burn your own path into the stone. You were not meant to survive life. You were meant to set it on fire. So stop acting like you're fragile. Stop acting like your dreams are optional. Stop acting like you've got forever. You don't. This is it. This is the moment everything changes. If you decide it does. Don't you dare settle. Don't you dare apologize for wanting more. Don't you dare die with your greatness still locked inside you. Because the world doesn't need another imitation. It needs one person. Just one. Who is unapologetically alive. Fully awake. Fully on fire. Unchained. Unstoppable. Unbreakable. And that person can be you. But only if you fight. Not once. Not when it's easy. Not when it's popular. Every single day. Because the pain of fighting will never match the pain of regret. Because when the curtain falls, and it will fall, you will either stand proud, knowing you gave this life everything you had, or you'll look back and realize you lost before the first punch was ever thrown. Because you never stepped in the ring. And that is the real defeat. So rise now. Not tomorrow. Not when it's perfect. Now. Burn your hesitation. Bury your fears. Look your future in the eyes and say, I'm not here to lose without a fight. I'm here to win like my life depends on it. Because it does. Now go. and make them remember. You were here.